been working in the Department of Physics and Astronomy since 2005 when he started while still a student. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in physics and a minor in astronomy. He ran the observatory as a student and has built up an outreach program in astronomy, which is now invited to dozens of schools, holds presentations for different groups, helps at astronomy festivals in national parks and monuments, and helps middle school and high school students with science fair projects in astronomy. This all reflects his desire to fill the need in our community for astronomy education. Paul has also performed instrumentation research for the Sloan Digital Sky Survey and helped to build a new observatory in southern Utah, as well as update and improve the U of U campus observatory. He's an instructor for the continuing education program on campus. We're privileged to have him here today to talk to us about life on Mars. Please welcome Paul Ricketts.
Hello. How's everyone doing? Woo. Good. Yeah, great. We're going to talk about life on Mars today. We can do it as an alien type of talk, or we can do it as what you guys would like to do if you went there, or both. So I'll probably do both. But we're going to have to talk about a little bit about Mars in order to understand, if there's capability of life, or has there been a capability of life at some point in time. But I did bring a little bit of Mars with me, so if you guys want to hold Mars in your hand, I actually have a meteorite that is from Mars. It's in a plastic case because it's super small, so it would be easy to drop and lose. But pass this around if you guys want to take a look at it. You guys can hold another planet in your hands. Well, a little bit of it. So we're going to talk about Mars. We're going to try to do this in 20 minutes, so we've got to get started. But you guys can kill the lights a little bit. This will be a lot easier to look at, too. But these are pictures of Mars. The one on your left is what you guys would see as take a picture of Mars if you guys went there in a spaceship. It kind of has a little bit of an atmosphere, can have dust storms and all of that kind of stuff. But the atmosphere is mostly comprised of carbon dioxide and very, very, very little water or oxygen. And so if you guys were to try to breathe there, you wouldn't be able to. And also it's a very thin atmosphere, so it's like going even further higher in the atmosphere than trying to hike on Mount Everest. A lot of people can't even hike to Mount Everest without having to use oxygen. So it's super thin. That's why if you were to try to live there, you would be stuck in a spacesuit all the time. A long time ago, before we had high resolution images of Mars, when people were looking at it, especially in the 50s when there was the big alien craze, it's like, oh really, did you come and destroy us, or all these movies and stuff. When they were looking at it, they saw something similar to the one on the left, where they saw all these canal-looking things and all of these things that looked like they were humans or aliens made this stuff. And they were like, oh, there's got to be aliens on Mars. And so that's why there was this big start of the Martians and everything. But we haven't found any. This is one of the pictures a long time ago in the early 90s that was taken by one of the orbiting spacecraft of Mars. And the picture right there, everybody was like, oh, there's a giant base on Mars, that means there was Martians there, or everything else like that, oh. And there was an X-Files episode on it and everything like that, and this alien ghost came and took over this guy's body and stuff like that. But, we got better resolution pictures and it was just a mountain. And humans have this really good thing with making anthropomorphic shapes and stuff out of things that, are just rocks on the ground or trees or something like that. So it's just a mountain. We haven't found anything, and despite what you would hear on YouTube by the crazies that post on there, there still hasn't been a Bigfoot on Mars. There haven't been any pyramids on Mars, and so it's just people having a very imaginative brain. So that's one of the things why we should explore this kind of stuff and see. Well, maybe there was aliens, but no. Do another one. So it does, like I said, have an atmosphere. It's usually very dusty because basically the whole planet is covered in dust now. What's really cool is it does have a thick enough atmosphere that you can actually see little dust devils or little tornado type things form on there. So those can be good and bad. You know, if you send something there and it has a solar panel, these can either clean off your solar panel or make them more dirty. So, you know, it's a good and bad thing depending on how it works. And if you guys have ever wondered what sunset looks like on Mars, there you go. That's the sunset on Mars taken from one of the Mars landers. So, if you ever wondered. So this gets us into, now you kind of have a very short background into the atmosphere and stuff. A long time ago, it may have had a lot more water and a thicker atmosphere than it does now. The problem with Mars right now is it doesn't have a lot of gravity, so it can't hold on to the atmosphere like Earth does, and so a lot of the atmosphere will just diffuse into space. Also, it doesn't have a magnetic field, so a lot of the solar wind that comes towards Mars will actually help push off even more of that atmosphere than it would here on Earth, because not only do we have a lot more gravity, we have a magnetic field that helps to push away the solar wind a little bit better. This is what they think Mars used to look like before the dinosaurs roamed the Earth. They think that it was a large area where there was a lot of water, and that was basically the whole North Pole area of Mars. If you look at topographical maps of that, you can actually see where that's the entire region on Mars was actually lower than the rest of the southern hemisphere. And so they think that that's probably, if there was a giant ocean, that's where it would be. And you guys know what happens in oceans. You know, usually if there's somewhere with water, there's usually life inside of it. Nearly everywhere that we have seen water here on Earth, there's been some kind of life, bacterial or otherwise. And so they think if there probably was water on Mars, if things kind of went the same way as they did on Earth, there would probably have been at least microbial life, or microbial life. I have a hard time saying stuff sometimes. And they currently have found evidence of water, nothing like direct rivers and anything. So they think maybe it's a small possibility that there could be microbes in the soil of Mars. And if you look at this picture right here, you can see it's the same picture taken in two different times of year during Mars seasons. And you see these little rills on the hill there. And they think that's due to water melting as it gets into its summer and just kind of rolling down the hill like you can see here on Earth. So they think there's a lot of ice underneath the surface. But it's hard to do any digging on there because, unlike taking pictures like this and being here on Earth where we can just go and dig it up with big machinery, all we have are these, small car-sized robots that have this little digger that's no bigger than this, and it just digs up a little bit and a little bit, and you can't go very far into the dirt. But what they have found, just like on this meteorite that you guys are holding in your hands, sometimes when something hits Mars, like a large asteroid or something, it can actually throw off material into space. And this is a picture taken with a really high-power microscope of an area of one of those Mars meteorites. And that little worm-looking thing they think is a fossilized bacteria that came from Mars. And this started a huge debate in the late 90s about whether or not there is actual microbial life on Mars, or has been. And what's hard about this picture is that's the only one they were able to find. So it's the only evidence that they know of. And so it's hard to say, oh, this is definitive proof of life on Mars, at least in the past. Because there are other people that can say, well, you can create this kind of thing with geological processes here on Earth. So without having more evidence of this to determine where it came from, it's hard to say if that's what it was. But that was another thing that kind of kicked back the whole, there's possible life on Mars, but not like Martians coming in. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Mars Attacks. Nothing like that so far. So going back a little bit to this, so if you think about what Mars looks like today compared to this, you have to look at all the different things on the planet. So if you guys want to be on Mars, yes, it's very cold, like a really hot summer day on Mars doesn't get above around 50 to 60 degrees. Usually on average it's below freezing, and it can actually drop down to well over 100 degrees at night. So it's not a very habitable place. If you want to raise your kids on Mars, you might have problems because there's a lot of radiation on Mars. So it may not be a good place to raise your kids. Because as you guys know, if you get too much radiation, it causes a lot of problems with your cells and everything, and break down your cells, cause cancer and all this other stuff. And especially if you're trying to have kids while on Mars, that radiation can actually cause a lot of harm while they're in the womb. So radiation is bad. You don't want to actually be there for any kind of long period of time. So if you guys are thinking about being the first ones on Mars, you got to think about, well, you might be the first people to die on Mars. Because right now, we don't have any technology to be like, okay, let's send this over there and like develop this kind of thing where we can build it on Mars and send people back. We don't have that kind of stuff yet. So you need to develop some kind of return system. We did it on the moon, but the moon is easy. It's a lot smaller. It has no atmosphere, so you don't have to worry about atmospheric turbulence and everything. And you're going to Mars, you're thinking about shooting off more than 2 people in this little tiny capsule. So it's going to be a lot harder to get there. But Buzz Aldrin, when there was a large debate about people going to Mars, was like, why don't we just send old people? We're going to die anyway. And he was like, I would love to be the first person to die on Mars. And so he's got a good idea about that. Like a lot of older people that are scientists and stuff like that, they can go there and do all the same stuff that anybody else could. And it's about 1/3 less gravity, so you could walk around easier. So for older people, it'd be actually easier for them to go. And if you say, yeah, you probably will die over there, that's all right. Some of them, but if he was the first person to go to Mars, that would be really awesome because he was one of the people that first go into space and all that other stuff. So we don't think about that. But that's like a stepping stone because it would be really awesome to actually get to Mars and make somewhere where you can actually live for a while. That's one of the long-term goals. And so if you were to live on Mars, you would be living in these really big enclosed housing things and stuff. So one of the problems is how do you get a really large encapsulated living space onto Mars and have it not be subject to falling apart really easily. You still have the problem with radiation because a lot of radiation you can't block with just simple aluminum siding and stuff like that. So one of the ideas is that you would build it into the ground. And it's like, oh, that's a great idea because that would help block the radiation. It'd be a little bit cheaper because you can use it ground insulation and everything. But I don't know, who wants to dig giant holes in spacesuits? So that's another thing. You've got to be able to get heavy equipment there in order to do that. So life on Mars is really, really difficult. And a long time ago, we haven't seen any evidence of, large life forms on Mars, even outcroppings and stuff. Like we've noticed, we've gone into craters and stuff, seen large outcroppings. Like here on Earth, you go into some parts of even just Utah, you can see large outcroppings with bones poking out from dinosaurs and stuff like that. And we don't have any of that kind of evidence so far on Mars. So one of the things that you could do if, there seems to be a lot of kids here, so if you want to raise them to be like a paleontologist for Mars, then you could send them to Mars, they could live on Mars and dig up some alien bones, if there is any there. Because the life on Mars is still a possibility at some point, or at some level. Because like we had before, we don't have any way to investigate it further, and that's one of the things. So, go back a little bit. Let me show you this little video. I think this is the 3D version. Okay, I don't have the other version, but just think about if you were to go to Mars, there's a lot of problems with just getting there too. So if you try to travel to Mars, one of the big things is a lot of science fiction movies are actually right. When you go into space, there's a lot of things that can go wrong just getting to somewhere. So micrometeorites are a problem, but personally I think people going crazy and like having problems with each other are going to be the biggest issue. Because who can go on a family trip somewhere or somewhere with a bunch of people and not get mad at somebody? Yeah. So one of the biggest things in like living in one of these places is the psychology of just being with people constantly, not being able to go to the movies, not being able to go on hikes and stuff like that and everything. So it's going to be really hard psychologically for people to live somewhere like Mars. So if you think you can do it, that would be great. Because then you could be, okay, I have to calm down. I know he ate my sandwich, but that's okay. I don't want to open the hatch. But yeah, there's a lot of those things. And you know, like just the thinking about the possibility of it and bringing up the technological advances to get there is a really good thing. So currently, you guys know the state of the world currently. We kind of need something to distract us from border issues. And this is a really good thing to do that because we can actually bring everybody together and be like, okay, well, maybe this nation can help us build this portion of this thing and these people can do that. So the good thing about astronomy and space travel and stuff, it really helps to bring a lot of people together. Because if you look at the International Space Station, you know, we got people from China, Russia, Japan, the United States, the UK, all these different countries coming together and spending time together on an International Space Station. And they don't have any issues with it. So if we could keep doing that kind of thing, maybe we could like fix some of the social issues between the countries. So life on Mars, whether it being like really old and not there anymore, or potential for getting more on there, it could actually help in a lot of different ways. So I think that's about right. 20 minutes?
Yeah, you can wrap up and take questions.
Okay, so if you guys have questions, it was a really quick thing, so if you guys have questions about any of that, you can answer a couple.
Well, how do you know for sure that meteorite came from Mars?
This one? Well, the interesting thing about that is when the entire solar system formed, you get these, mostly theoretical model for it is you get different elements at different weights of stuff that coalesce into different sections inside the solar nebula as everything's forming. So there's different abundances of different isotopes of different elements. And so the Earth has a certain number of elements with a certain abundance, and there's different isotopes involved with those with each of the elements. And those are different than the ones on Mars. And so if you can look at a rock that came from Mars, you can look at the different abundances of those isotopes and be like, oh, well, nowhere on Earth have we found this kind of thing, but we have found that kind of abundance on Mars. So you could say with much higher probability that it's actually a rock from Mars. So there's really good ways to tell how to do that.
So if it's such a hard place to live, why are intelligent people like Elon Musk talking about trying to go there? Like, is he serious or is it just something?
No, he's serious. It's the whole exploration thing. So, like people like to explore. You know, we've explored a lot of the Earth, and some people are like, well, trees and ocean stuff, that doesn't really get me as much as a whole new planet. So it's kind of like just wanting to go somewhere new, trying to do something, giving humans something to like think about, giving them something to progress towards and stuff like that.
So do people really think it's an alternative to if the Earth got too hot and everything started going south? That would be an alternative, like because I've heard people talk.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Like we'd have to set up a lot of stuff on Mars in order to do that. Like currently, there's no real water sources, so that's the big thing.
You mentioned that you need a spacesuit on Mars. Is there not enough atmospheric pressure to get by with oxygen?
Nope. Well, actually, with that, yeah, it's not like going into space where it like cause problems with your blood and cause oxygen bubbles and stuff, or nitrogen bubbles and
Adapt
stuff.
to the atmospheric pressure that's there.
I don't know. It's never been kind of tested. there hasn't been anybody that's like, that's something that is still to be looked at. But theoretically, it could be possible because there is some atmospheric pressure, but it might be still too low for you not to feel things like if you've ever been scuba diving and you don't come up out of the water properly, you get it's called the bends, and that's where nitrogen bubbles and stuff get in your bloodstream and it can actually kill you. Well, that same kind of thing can happen if you don't have enough atmospheric pressure, because the lower the atmosphere, the more things want to boil, because you have that much less of an atmosphere.
Yeah, you probably need some pressure just to hold the oxygen in your
Right.
hemoglobin.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my issue.
How accurate is the movie
The
The Martian?
Martian, it's pretty accurate. The whole premise of the very beginning is a lie. Like with the strong solar or the strong winds and everything blowing things away. Like the atmosphere is so thin that even if it's like blowing at 50 miles an hour, it's like someone going. You know? So it's not thick enough to actually cause a lot of force onto something like what happened in the movie. But the author of the book was like, yeah, that was, it was a lie, but I had to set something up to go wrong. Because in a lot of like science movies and stuff like that, something has to go wrong in order for you to keep the story going. And so that was what he did. But a lot of the other stuff was, really accurate. Growing potatoes on Mars, that's actually maybe possible. We don't have a whole list of all of the types of trace elements and stuff that are in the dirt. So you might have really weird tasting potatoes, or because if you've ever tried to grow something in dirt that's not very rich in minerals that things need, your plants don't really do well. So that's why you have certain soils and stuff at the store that you want to buy instead of just clay.
So, knowing what you know, do you believe in aliens?
What's that?
Knowing what you know, do you believe in aliens?
So there's two types of aliens for me. So there are the ones that come to Earth and abduct people. Those ones, more than likely not. But aliens that could exist on other planets in other solar systems, the probability of that is actually super high. So even if it's like the highest intelligence is a dog on another planet, something like that, that's still other life. But as for intelligent life forms, there's still the potential of being dozens in our galaxy, because if you look at how many stars are in our galaxy, how many planets that we have found around other stars so far. Like we've looked at about 20,000 different planets, and 4,000 of those planets have, or 20,000 different stars, and 4,000 of those have planets around them, and a dozen of those have planets that are somewhat similar to Earth. So, and then you expand that to the number of stars in the Milky Way, which is about 100 to 150 billion stars. Just probability gives you a large possible number of other life forms and other intelligent beings. So, yeah, they exist more so than they are visiting. But, yeah.
How long would it take? How fast do you have to go? Some logistical there.
See what?
How
To get to Mars?
How fast do you have to go? How long would it take?
If you plan the orbits right, so when the orbit of Mars is closest to the orbit of Earth, it's about 3 months. But it's a good thing NASA doesn't have people that are like, oh, we can do it when the sun gets set in the sun, because that would take about a year. So you have to plan the orbits right, it's about 3 months, but you would travel anywhere between 17 to 28,000 miles an hour to do that. Do you have a question?
Last question.
Okay.
I was going to ask, you said the atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, so isn't that evidence that there isn't life on Mars? Because if there was life, there'd have to be something like photosynthesis and removing
Carbon dioxide.
And the second part of the question is, how much oxygen is in the atmosphere, and wouldn't that be evidence that there isn't?
So you can have carbon dioxide without having any life forms, because we get carbon dioxide just from volcanoes.
But if you did have, if I did have life, it would be removing the carbon dioxide.
Right.
And some oxygen.
Right. It would be removing life. If it was photosynthetic, it might get its energy from other sources. So this bacteria can get their energy sources from any number of things.
So they would have to have some source for the carbon that they would use to make their bodies up. So,
yeah, it's true. And then for your other question, oxygen is like a trace element in the atmosphere. So it's like below 1%. So it's like almost non-existent there, but there is a little tiny bit. So that was the last question. I'll hang out for a little while if you guys want to ask more questions after we're finished with everything else. But I have to hand the time over. But I would like to invite you guys, if you guys ever want to come, we have start parties up on the campus at our observatory every Wednesday. And they're free. You can bring anybody you want. And right now you can see Mars a little bit. Jupiter's coming up. So you guys are welcome to come to those whenever it's clear.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday nights.